Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday meeting of We the People, brought to you by the Coalition for Community Elevation. I usually try to start the show, and I have my little monologue without the other gentleman. And I do that not because I don't think that the other gentlemen agree with me or don't agree with me, but because these are my opinions, and whether we agree or not, there is a disclaimer. So, because I speak does not mean that I speak for them. But just today, we have had another incident. Fortunately, this was not by the domestic terrorist group called ICE, but we have a gentleman that attends a public town meeting and douses Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar with an unknown substance. Could have been flammable, could be some type of biohazard. Right now, no one knows. So, it is once again, we see people being attacked in Minnesota, Minneapolis to be precise. And let's see what pursues from this latest encounter. I see all the gentlemen are here, so I'm going to bring everyone up. Brother Masada, how are you doing this evening?
Not really good, honestly. There's so much going on. We just celebrated MLK Day. We've been having that coming up. And at the same time, I've had to post on my Instagrams. I posted that in December, how me and my kids went to Disney World. We went to Kennedy Space Center. And I'm posting, while I'm posting, I'm just so hurt because I'm like, Minnesota stopped for a day. Nobody else stopped. Nobody else cared. And we're living life, celebrating MLK Day. And about the same men and people who said that if you stand by and do nothing, that's injustice. And right now, we're all standing by doing nothing. And that irks my nerves. So I have a lot more to say on that, but I'm gonna try to keep it brief because I know a lot of people feel like if it don't affect them, it doesn't matter. But we're all connected, and I know we're all connected. So it's like a cycle. Every energy, every vibration, everything that does happen, it does affect you, whether you think it does in the moment or not. And so I'm just disheartened.
Brother Javon, how are you doing? Back from the Orient there, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while. I went to Japan for a week and a half and just started school. I got a lot going on, but I mean, as soon as I landed back in the States, I was hit with all this news about ISIS. It's been overwhelming. Hard to continue my grind. Just kind of like Masada was saying, like just knowing what's been going on in Minneapolis, and like there's just a lot. So I can't say I'm doing great, but I am happy to be here, and I really wanted to tune into this one in particular just to hear what you guys had to say on what's going on, because the more you know is just important. So yeah, I'm glad to be here, and that's how I'm doing.
Brother Derek, how are you doing this evening?
Well, pretty much like everybody else, just trying to navigate this new normal that we have in the midst of all these threats to democracy and turning the clock back. I don't usually quote old dead white men, but these are the times that try men's souls. We are definitely in uncharted waters for most of us. Most people, like Javon, probably only read about times like this back in the history books. So, if that, but yeah. So this is really really tough, I think, and it's even tougher for me because we're at the point where we are under a regime that is even willing to brutalize and kill white men and white women. You know, we know what happens to us, but these are white people that are, you know, getting thrown down and shot, and tear gassed, and
That
everything
makes
else.
it a lot more disturbing, huh?
Well, it makes it disturbing because I mean we always knew that, you know, we were
Targets.
fair game. We were clear fodder. But when it's to the point that it doesn't matter, you know, who you are, it really says a lot to me about our democracy. Our democracy is a flawed democracy, but there is a democracy there, and I can see that just being ripped away. I'm just waiting on the declaration of the Insurrectionist Act. You know, we're just on the verge of it. So
We we have different opinions on that. I don't think it's being ripped away. I think the facade, the ugly mask, the smiling mask has been ripped away, and now we see what it really looks like. Because at this point in time, when I come in and say that it's more disturbing, it's more disturbing because you said we're targets. We've always been targets. We have to fight. We have to uprise because we're being oppressed. We're being mistreated. But now you're saying white people being mistreated, Mexicans and everybody else, and nothing. What alarms me is nothing that any party has done in the last like 3 to 4 years or 2 years. Nothing has been so alarming that the American people has done like any other country and said, you know what, I've had enough. Everything has still been, oh, that's cool. It's not affecting me. And that's my problem, that no matter if it's black, white, they done did a gay guy, a white woman, Mexicans, blacks. Nothing has made us say, okay, let's go. No, enough is enough. Minnesota did it for one day. I would love to see the world do it for until it stops. Until
let's
we
give
really stop.
Minnesota credit. They've been doing it for
Yeah,
more than a
no.
day.
They did more
It's
than a
been
lot
more
of
than
other
a
people
day.
did.
They're out there every day.
Yeah.
Day.
Yeah, it's not getting covered either. Like I don't see it on social media anymore. It's like, what's going
You
on?
better get away from social media and get to some real news.
It's
That'll
actually
be
happening in
that'll
San
be my
Diego a little bit too,
recommendation.
brother Derek.
Huh?
It's actually happening in San Diego a little bit too.
I
We
believe
just still
it. I
caught up on
believe
the
it.
beaches. We ain't in the cold snow, and they really grinding.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I believe you.
But now, Brother Dick, I got to go to you for this one here. Because how can we be surprised when these people have been in power, at least for my whole lifetime? I mean, the name might not be Strom Thurmond, but it's the grandson, or it's the person that has the same ideology. I mean, you just now have Mitch McConnell getting ready to step down this year. How long has he been there? 70 years, 60 years? I mean, so if you keep, as I say, if you keep putting the same people back in office, how can you expect things to change? And you went through 4 administrations.
5 actually, but yeah.
5.
Yeah. I mean, and so that's the only reason I say I can make comparisons, and it's never been this blatant, this open. Now it was somewhat during when they were like when they were parading Willie Lynch, and talking about the super criminal and everything. But even then, they weren't going after white people. I'm just saying, it's to the point now they even and again, let me back up and say this. I was on social media. Check me out, Javon, talking about some of this in the last couple of days, in the sense that in 1970, Kent State. Now you were probably James. You were probably traipsing through the rice fields of Vietnam or something back then. But you heard about Kent State, and Javon, I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if you
no,
do.
I'm from Ohio.
Okay,
Youngstown is not
I
that
just
far
didn't know
from.
if you were overseas or not. But Javon,
Oh
this
yeah,
is
I
when it
was
went on.
overseas, but it was
You
I
still
mean,
heard about it, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, armed forces like that was
Yeah, they came on campus and killed
Was
several
that when they just opened
infiltrators.
fire on
yeah.
on students? Yeah. I
Yeah,
did hear. I did learn about this in history or one of my
yeah.
history classes in college. Yeah.
And if you go back a few years before that, and what I am well, I say excited. I think for the change to happen that we're talking about, though, James, and I agree with you. I mean, it's just not been this open, not since the '60s. It's just declaring, I just don't care. What did Melania wear that coat when she went to somewhere, some country, and says, I don't really care about you, or something like this. And so, and she's not running things, but I'm saying that attitude is just out there front and center now. But in 1965, for example, down in Selma, 3 white people were killed. Okay, Viola Liuzzo, James Reeb, and all of a sudden I'm forgetting the last one. And that's when Dr. King called for the ministers, the clergy, to come there to support them. And that's similar to what happened in Minneapolis. I'm just saying, for real change to happen, it can't just be black people, it just can't be brown people. It's got to be a real collection. And what I am excited about, I'm sad that they had to do this, but I'm excited that what we do see in Minneapolis is that our white brothers and sisters are putting their lives on the line, for their neighbors, and they got real skin in the game. And I think that we have to have that kind of commitment to chase these people out of office who really don't care about us.
And you also, I think a lot of people forget about the indigenous population in Minnesota. I mean, you know, they have really not just us, but I mean they have been with us every step of the way, and it's I think what scares me most with the mask is that for the most part you can take off this mask and just blend right in, you know. Whether you are light skinned, dark skinned, good hair, bad hair, you're still black. It does, you can't take that off and put it in the closet. And Javon, how is how will you in particular in your particular generation, how do you when you see young people regardless of color being abused by uh, this organization, uh, what is your thoughts? Uh, you know, supposedly this is supposed to be law and order, right?
Well, I mean, it's extremely upsetting, but I will say that, like, I mean, we've been seeing it with social media. We've been seeing this stuff for a long time now and it's to the point where, like, it's almost not even surprising. It's not surprising. And it's like, even the people that are younger than me, like, as sad as this is to say, I'm watching them get desensitized to it all. Like, because they were the same kids that saw George Floyd on their parents' iPad. Like our entire generation is like slowly but surely becoming desensitized to this behavior on that we see with ICE, and not just ICE, but with police and every form of brutality that has been happening in the last 10, 15 years. And so it's extremely disturbing. And even the white people in my generation, white kids don't they don't agree with it. Like Brother Derek was saying, like even the white people, in my generation, they can't stand seeing it. And so it's extremely upsetting. It's unsettling. Like as crazy as it sounds, like I'm very far from Hispanic. I'm half black and half white. But there's nothing stopping ICE from getting me at this point, because they could just look at anyone they want and detain them. How as a young person, how am I supposed to succeed when I'm nervous about leaving my house because all I see is ICE, like disturbing the peace? And at this point, it's like you could even be a white mom and still get attacked by ICE. So even the white people of my generation are afraid to leave their house. Nobody's safe. And so we're all just extremely distraught and slowly but surely becoming desensitized. It's a terrible feeling. And I mean, you can imagine like what it's like trying to succeed at school or build a career or anything like that when you're afraid to even leave your house because of what's going on with ICE and stuff. So it's not a good feeling, James. There's no way of sugarcoating it. It's bad. But I think that's where we're at right now. I think I can speak for the masses in regards to our feelings towards ICE and the situation that's been going on.
But now, when you say desensitized,
mm-hmm.
Is it desensitized in the sense of kids playing video games where, we realize that we have a problem, but, we think that, once we turn that social media off, until that next morning, the problem kind of goes away. Do you mean desensitized in the sense, that you don't believe in the system anymore? Do you mean desensitized in the sense of not believing that one man counts for one vote, so therefore the system is broken?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, desensitized in the sense of like, we're just not surprised. It's just another thing to add to the list of things that we've been seeing pop up on our phone. I don't think it I don't know the numbers. I'm not a numbers guy. But I don't necessarily think that this will change the amount of people that are willing to vote. Like something like this in my generation, I don't think we're going to see, ICE abusing people and think to ourselves, wow, I'm just not going to vote. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think the faith that we have in our system is low, but I don't think that's really going to stop my generation from voting necessarily. It may, and I'm not proud of this, but it may like just decrease the willingness to stand up and fight, maybe, because we see it so much, and it's like we have a helpless feeling, like in the sense of like, damn, we can go out and protest, but ICE is going to do it again and again in this community. It's like there is a sense of like helplessness that I could see. Again, I don't have the numbers, but I could see like taking the drive out of my generation to go out and fight for what's right. But I can't actually speak on that. It's just like I could see it being a thing, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, I'll speak on myself. Like when I see that makes me want to stop what I'm doing and go do something about it. But that's just me. I'm also in this meeting here with you guys.
That's
so
right.
That's where I'm at with it. But I could definitely see the concern, what you were trying to say there, James. This, as someone who's a part of that generation, I guess it's definitely something to look into, for sure.
I had a question, Javon. So you don't think it'll stop people from voting, but it doesn't sound like, or being activists, but it doesn't sound like you think it will have the opposite effect, which would be to make people to bring people out and together, and to, even though you said you see it having that impact on you, but for the masses, and my concern on that is that if that's the effect it has, that's the desired effect, to scare people, to chill people, to get people to believe, well, what's the use? I can't change anything. I'm
Hmm.
this one person, and I'm just saying that that's the hope that the other side would have in terms of being repressive.
Hmm.
Just something to think about.
No, yeah. So I mean, I think you're right. Um, like I said, I don't identify with in that cat. Like personally, I'm not in that category. But I could totally see where you're coming from. And like I said, if you grow up from a young age seeing on your parents' iPad, you know, George Floyd, and then like you keep on seeing it as you get older, it's like the urgency is could like dim that urgency, if that makes sense. The people I'm around and myself are not like that, but like I'm trying to speak on behalf of the entire generation of people here. And you could very well be right, and that is a very scary thing it's a concern. It truly is a concern. So I thank you for pointing that out for sure.
Masada, last night I put up a nationwide campaign. Call your senators, call your representatives, fill up their voice mailboxes, because on the 30th, DHS runs out of funding. So our campaign, the coalition, is to have everyone call that representative. Make sure that you fill up those mailboxes. Let them know how the people feel. Now, to me, that's very similar to what people are trying to do with Target, and as you speak of the people in Minnesota. I tried to blast this out to everyone, either via email or social media. And I know, it's an ambitious campaign for a small group like us. But Masada, what's your thoughts on this? I'm thinking, this is our way of boycotting, bullshit. Excuse my French. I made Brother Derek snap his head around.
No, I got to go to grandson real quick. I'm sorry.
My thoughts with any of this and all of this, kind of what Javon was talking about and all. I don't believe that it's desensitizing it in the aspect of what was going on in my head. It is defeating. It's just like what Brother Derek was talking about, but it's a tactic that they've used for years, and it's not just Javon's generation. So I don't want you to shoulder all that weight, and your generation shouldering all that weight. It's my generation. It's Brother Derek's and Brother James' generation. Everyone's been silent and scared. It's been since Martin Luther King. It just passed. It's been since him. He's saying that if you injustice to us, injustice everywhere is injustice to us all. And if you stay silent, and that's what everybody's doing. I don't feel like people now are saying, you know what, voting don't matter. They've been saying voting don't matter. What we're trying to do, Brother James, getting people to call in, I'm with it. I every day in my emails before the coalition, before years ago, I go and click. I put my name on all types of things. I call in for the cost of living. I call in for Head Start. I have so many emails I save up that I've sent to the representatives, governors, and all of that. And I get emails saying that how many other people, it's 1 million people with you. It's 300,000 people with you. My whole problem is that does nothing if we're sending it to the same people who are in power. We're basically pleading with the same people in power to, hey, don't do this to us. And so until we actually get out in the streets, and like Javon hinted towards, until we all actually get out into the streets, I have little hope that people are going to want to do what they don't want to do anyway. I have little hope that what we've been trying to do since the civil rights movement that people aren't doing. People have been pacified too much. We have too much entertainment. We have too much scrolling. We have a lot of things going on. For me, I know I don't have all the answers, but I do know this. If we truly believe in the human rights and in rights and justice, we can't stay silent. And even when it feels like the rest of the world is scrolling past tragedy, like it's another headline, we can't stay silent, but we do. And so getting people to call in on the 30th is something great, I feel like. But who's really calling in? At this point, it really is choosing sides. It's either you're for the correct stuff and for the right, or you're for the wrong. And right now, I see a lot of people. I believe I am one of those people. If you stay silent and I'm in trouble, then you're against me. If you stay silent when I'm in trouble, you're against me. There's no I'm gonna stay silent and let it pass over. So at this point in time, it's gonna come up to where people are gonna have to choose because their 2025 project or whatever project they had, they're doing it script by script. They gave it to us. We know it. We've seen the playbook, and we still letting them run the same play. So until we all decide to stop it, I think the coalition is really good. I think what we're doing and the calls and I think the protesting is really good. But until enough people really say enough is enough, I mean, we'll be back here Tuesday talking about the same things, maybe another murder, and I don't want to say nothing but what it is, another murder on TV, live now.
Yeah, you know, there have been so many false reports, and Javon, maybe I'm picking on you a little bit here because I know Masada and I have both had eye operations, so maybe things aren't the way that I saw them, the way that Masada saw them, but you know, this man was a veteran, an ICU nurse, and he was actually carrying a weapon in a state that is open carry, but he never pulled his weapon. Now, I'm going to kind of dig back here a little bit, but I've never shot anybody 10 times in order to unalive them. Anything more than two was a waste of bullets. And you're taught to shoot in groups of 5. But anyway, I digress. This man was shot in the back 10 times. Now, maybe you saw something that I didn't, but can you what did you see?
I mean, what I saw was a whole bunch of cowards who were tired of dealing with someone who was on the ground defending himself from getting beaten. And one of the cowards pulled a weapon and shot him 10 times or 11 times. How many times was it? However many times it was. And then there was other angles of other guys in the back clapping after it happened. So to me, I mean, it's not really up for discussion or up for debate. I didn't even really check to see what officials at ICE had to say about it, because they're always going to make an excuse or say it wasn't what it was. And so, yeah, no, we're seeing the same thing, despite your guys' eye surgeries. Like you said earlier, it was disgusting. It was hard to watch. I remember literally the first time I put my phone down, I couldn't. I was done for the rest of the day. Yeah, no, it was disgusting. It was a whole bunch of cowards abusing their power. Yeah, no, you're not seeing things, sir. You're definitely not seeing things. That's where I would leave off.
Brother Derek, you when you looked at this whole situation, what did you think? And kind of, I mean, did, when you saw the outpouring of the people of Minneapolis, even after this, and the the weather conditions. I mean, you had scores of people all over Minneapolis coming together. But what did you think about this? We watched a woman just a couple of days before. Now here we have a man that loses his life protecting two women, and as I said, this man was disarmed before he was shot in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look back, on your experiences, and as you mentioned, the three young men that were killed uh, back during the civil rights era, does this kind of bring back chills? Does this kind of like reminisce of times gone by?
Yeah, it does, James. I think that, and I want to say this to you, Javon. I don't blame young people. I generally blame my generation because I think we dropped the ball with young people because maybe some of us were so excited about being like the first generation that could kind of live wherever you had the money for the most part, right? Get into the schools, you had the grades. And so lots of times we left our communities and maybe it was that there was that pain from having seen our parents, be marginalized and go through all that we didn't engage our kids like we should have. But yeah, it reminds me, James, of I think the thing the killing that impacted me the most. I'm saying in the last however long it's been now, 15 years, was Trayvon Martin. You know how he was whipping that white he wasn't a cop. He was whipping his butt, and so the coward had to pull out who had studied Stand My Ground, right? And then turned around and used it to kill a kid because he was getting his butt whipped. And that one I was taking when I was waiting on that verdict, and we had been waiting on the verdict, and I was taking my son down he was shooting a music event downtown, and I heard that verdict, and I just had to pull over, and I just couldn't help myself. I just was weeping like a 5-year-old, and I don't know when the last time I had done that. Maybe when my mother died, and it was just so. It is really, it's gut wrenching. It's something that it rips your heart out, and it makes you really. To me, it makes me ashamed of what we've become, and I'm not going to disagree with you, Masada. A lot of that is what's been there, and you see it in a lot of places. It's just that it's so blatant now. It's almost like, but unfortunately, I think these are the kind of things that have to happen to wake enough of this country up. Because, for example, even like you have all the gun lobbyists, right? The Republicans that are gun lobbyists. Well, they know he wasn't brandishing a gun, and they believe in the right to carry, the Second Amendment. And so you start to see a certain amount of fissure, of division within that regime. And I think that it's like the I don't know her name. She's a congresswoman out of Minnesota that's calling for the indictment of Kristi Noem. I'm just saying that.
You talk about Ilhan Omar, the one that just got doused today.
I'm talking about the the Secretary Christy Nome, but you're talking about are you talking about the guy that was killed on near the border? Is that in Arizona?
No, no, I was talking about the Ilian Omar, the
From Minnesota. Yeah, yeah.
right. She.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm sure she is, but this is a white woman. So,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
saying I don't want to, I don't want to minimize when our people stand up and,
right.
and push back, but when they do it, and so I'm saying that there are enough of them starting to get really uncomfortable with this because, hey, I think they're fine. Well, too many of them. I don't want to generalize, okay? I really don't, but too many of them were okay with hauling away the Latinos, even though that's who picked our crops and our groceries, who cut our grass to a lot and did a lot of things that a lot of other people weren't willing to do, right? I tell you, my old boss Joe Lowry used to call them the new Negro because we came out of Reconstruction in the early days, we would do anything and all of that, but a lot of times we don't want to do those things anymore. And I think that was fine because, of course, his mantra, we're going to get rid of all the rapists and robbers and thieves and all these bad people. But, the deeper it goes, it's getting clear that you're getting rid of anybody. You want to haul away anybody that doesn't look like you, quite honestly. And whether they be American citizens or not. And then when you get to the point where you will take out your own people in this grand sweep of things, I think that unfortunately it had to get to this for action to happen, for some pushback to happen, and for there to be essentially a revolt. And I think we're moving in that direction. His approval numbers are really, really low. And for him to actually take that guy out, what's his name? The guy that was heading up the ICE there in Minneapolis, for him to ship him out. But the problem is the guy he's sending in there, Tom Homan, is probably worse because we know what a crook is when he walked off with that bag full of money, right? So I think that the president is living in this false reality, and he thinks that all these people love what he's doing. He thinks he has these high approval ratings. And I think part of that reason is that the people around him don't have the courage or the guts or the sense of humanity to tell the emperor that he's butt-ass naked, because we know he is, right? And that his policies are all whack, and it's only for that small people. But yeah, it is devastating, James, and I just think that we've heard this, we've seen this song before, just not quite so blatant. It reminds me of George Wallace in the 60s in the University of Alabama. He stood on the steps of the courthouse. Javon, I don't know if you know much about him. He says, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever, to keep black people from coming to school there. And I'm just saying, it just hasn't been this.
We shot him in Columbus.
Yeah. I didn't realize that was in Columbus, but okay.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, the Cleveland police killed Tamir Rice. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, the police car hadn't even come to a stop when he had shot the guy. What was he? 11 years old, right? And what we know is that it would have never happened to a little white boy. Little Johnny would not have had that happen. And that's why today, quite honestly, I would have never thought that they would shoot an unarmed white woman right in the face like that. And this white guy, 4 or 5 times? It's just
10 in the back. In the back. Yeah.
And if unless they stop these people, because a lot of them, this is what they live for, to go and brutalize people, right? That whole kind of warrior mentality. And so it won't be the last unless he does pull these people out.
You touch a lot, a lot of things there. But now here's another thing that hasn't been really brought out. Like supposedly ICE was brought up here and to investigate all of this Somali fraud and the record amount of fraud that was found in daycare centers in Minnesota. But now we find out that the queen of fraud, just like the queen of welfare way back in the day, you probably remember that, Mr. Brother Derek. But the queen of fraud in Minnesota is a white woman. It has nothing to do with the Somalis. So now that you've used a lie to get to Minnesota and try to enforce these laws, all of a sudden now you don't hear about the daycare fraud because if you look back at the people that were arrested, they were white people. They weren't Somalis. They weren't black people. They weren't Latinos. This was a white woman and her family. So once again, we are presented as the culprits. And because of the stereotypes, I think a lot of misinformation has been able to be handed out and taken as truth. For instance, as soon as the lady was killed, Miss Good, she was weaponizing her vehicle. Even though she was turned away, she was weaponizing her vehicle. This man, a nurse, veteran, in an open carry state, shot after his weapon was taken, but they was still a domestic terrorist. Now, I hate to, point out to a certain religion or things like that, but Brother Derek, when you have men in the pulpit that are not only a part of ICE, but are preaching the same dogma as ICE, how do we combat that when we have been told that this is the righteous book? This is the way we are supposed to live. This is our 10 commandments.
Yeah, and one of the keys to, and this white Christian nationalism, and that's what it is. I mean, you can't sugarcoat it. It's like one of the main things in that book is talks about welcoming the stranger too. Well, they're doing anything but welcoming the stranger. You demonizing them. I'm just saying it's unfortunate. I don't fault the book, but I think people will take anything and twist it to their means, their purpose, and they will. Again, I go back to Joe Lowry's saying that I quote all the time is that most people live in the 51st state of denial, and they lie to themselves about anything and everything as long as it fits their narrative and their purpose. And I just think that, and I see people every day, and I know some of them who were all in on a lot of this, and then they see the hypocrisy of it. They see how unfair it is, and some of them will never change, but you see the chipping away, because like young people were, of course, Miss Harris had a lot of young voters, but young people through Charlie Kirk and that whole movement, I remember what do you call it? Turning Point, right? They really amassed a huge following. But now that what I'm hearing, and I love to hear from Javon, is that young people, I get being disillusioned with the whole system. I do get that. But they're really turned off, I think, a high percentage of them, and the people in the middle, the people who are not necessarily wed to either party, are really saying, listen, this is not. I mean, this whole thing this guy ran on was, of course, yeah, getting rid of all the illegals, but hey, we know how far beyond that it is. And the other thing was the economy, and who's doing well in the economy now. I mean, I'm sure it must be somebody, him and his billionaire buddies, but it ain't anybody I know. And so I think that he sold us a bill of goods, and I think people are waking up to that. Now, he's the strong man, and I don't know how much he cares, because we're only 1 year in, and how much more damage can be done in these next three, you know. But yeah, I mean, there's no way I'm going to justify people misusing, the word of God to their own benefit and to the detriment of everybody else. Because the main thing that book talks about is love thy neighbor as thyself, and that damn sure isn't happening. So
somewhere in there is thou shalt not kill, but
that too, yeah. Thou shalt not bear false witness against our neighbor. And Christy Nome just stood up there and said that he was brandishing a weapon, and he came down there, to commit some kind of mass attack on people. I mean, come on now. And then they'll tell you, don't believe your lying eyes, right? We know what we saw. And it's just like with George Floyd. I mean, I think that woke a lot of people up, because you said, look what they're doing, this in broad daylight, 9 minutes and however many seconds he sat on this, and then people came out in the street and they were marching, but people got tired. And that's one thing. Some people, we can't get tired, right? Because we always going to be black. We always going to be, and so we have to, and that is one thing. That's it. That's one reason I am really proud of, because so far the people in Minneapolis are showing a lot of resolve, even though they've seen two of their people that they love and care about gunned down, and they're still coming out. And I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing, but is this where we've come to in order to get to that place, Masada?
Honestly, y'all, my head is sitting here hurting, y'all, because Brother Derek, you said that it's your generation's fault, and then you go to Javon and say that because y'all did us wrong. I'm 44. It ain't the older people's fault. Y'all did civil rights. Y'all marched. What everybody is missing since the civil rights movement, and even before that. Hold on, let me, because I want to make this short and quick, because y'all are talking shit right now, and I gotta fucking meet me for a second, Brother James. I'm sorry about all this bullshit, because this is what Javon and all real people are feeling. I want to hear the shit they changed the narrative. Mike Brown, hands up, he got a gun. Trayvon Martin, he got Skittles. Tamir Rice, y'all talking about, he got a toy gun. They don't fucking change the narrative just for these cases in Minnesota. They change the narratives all the time for what they want. And since the civil rights movement, and even before that, real changes only ever happened when the masses came together, y'all. Not when a few people spoke out, not when it trended for a fucking week, not when everyday people collected. It's when everyday people really said enough. And what we've been seeing is not just desensitization, what we were talking about earlier. It's very more dangerous. It's fear-based. It's fear being installed into a population that already lives in fear. People fear losing jobs. They fear being able to pay their rent. They fear not affording food, healthcare, basic necessities. The same thing I've been spending like a week now putting up on, and James been spending like years putting up on our coalition page. When people are constantly in survival mode, they don't have the energy to resist. They scroll social media. They distract themselves. They consume entertainment just to get through the day. And it's not by accident. We always talk about a systematic. The system is working exactly like it was designed. So when we talk about getting enough people to vote and getting enough people to get chumped out of there, we're talking about these same people that we've been asking when y'all talk about the Bible, y'all talk about all this stuff. The good old boys is ICE. ICE, the Ku Klux Klan. I relate that seeing crosses burning in an American front yard, and then we still go to church. We still talk about that, and they still burn crosses. The mask you said, Brother James, when they take off the mask, you don't know who they are. We know who they are. They're our politicians. I'm surprised J.D. Vance and Trump ain't there themselves, right behind one of them marching and all that. We know. So until the masses get tired of scrolling, tired of entertainment replacing engagement, tired of being talked at instead of representing through diplomacy, ain't shit gonna change, y'all. History shows us this whether we like it or not. Power don't shift until comfort is disrupted. And right now, too many people are just good enough being comfortable, pacified, talking like this, blaming the younger generation, the older generation, the middle generation. The word that I heard you miss what you were talking about right now, Brother Derek, it's accountability. Those people who voted for him, those people who know it's wrong and not saying nothing. They don't want to be fucking accountable, because when we start being accountable, then that's not just the politicians we got to worry about. That's us looking ourselves in the mirror, like Michael Jackson said. He said a lot of things. They don't care about us, and it starts with the man in the mirror. Minnesota is starting with their men's in the mirror. Minnesota, when I talk about that, I don't dismiss it as just one day. I don't dismiss it as a couple of days. I dismiss it as, if we were all serious, then why aren't we doing it? Why ain't Atlanta doing it? Why ain't Georgia doing it? Atlanta, the Black Mecca. Why ain't shit happening? California. I'm so proud of California. I talked shit when Trayvon Martin happened. I said, yo, if that was in California, we'd be riding, shutting everything down. And then I felt stupid and was like, why I got to be only in California? The coalition that we starting, Pitt, San Diego County and all that, because that's where we're at. I don't do this for San Diego, y'all. I don't do this just for where I'm at. This is where y'all don't understand me at all. And I'll be like so confused on everybody. It's not your generation. It's not my generation. It's not Javon's generation. It's all of us that need to take accountability, even for myself. When I miss out on the march, I'm mad at myself I wasn't able to go to it. When I miss out on boycotting the Target or some new thing like calling on the 30th, so I'm telling you, I got so many emails, you got to do this, petition for this, petition for that. And all I can think about is, that's a damn joke. That's me and my wife telling our kids, I don't want to go out tonight. And I'm telling them, yo, go ask mom, can you go out? Knowing mom and me already said that we ain't going to go out. So she going to be like, go ask your daddy, and we're going to play that bullshit game. And right now, until we all really stop, they're going to keep doing it. They did it in the movie Braveheart. They do it in all the movies. They did it with the Nazis. All they do is fear-based and see how far they can get away with it. When we talk about white people now, they're just seeing how far that they can push us to where it's going to make us mad and do something. And what they found out is nothing. They did January 6th, 2 years ago, insurrection. Ain't nobody said shit, and then he pardoned everybody. Nobody said shit. George Floyd happened. The world did something, but America didn't. America is a big corporation that we always pretend that it's very diplomatic, and ain't nothing diplomatic about it when money comes involved. And right now, that's what it's showing you. It ain't that Trump got buddies that love him and like him. They like the money that they make. You say who getting rich? We know. It said it in the first 3 months. The first 3 months, the richest people in the world got richer. So I'm sorry, y'all. I know I'm supposed to sit here and chill and listen to y'all talk all good and all that. But people don't want to hear that shit. Your kids don't want to hear it. Your grandkids don't want to hear it. Javon, them age don't want to hear it. My age and them don't want to hear it. What people want to hear, they don't want to hear shit no more. They tired of talking. They want to really see some action. They want to see what Minnesota did everywhere. And what's happening is people are still going to their entertainment. People are still doing what the fuck they need to do and not caring. And only a small people are doing it, and we're seeing it live, and what people are doing it, they're just watching it. And they're putting their likes by it. And they're coming, and then there's doing nothing. We had a group like the Black Panthers going over there trying to help out using the Black Panthers name. And now they're talking to each other about different stuff. And my whole thing, and I'll shut up with this because I really don't like to talk, man. I really can't get passionate, but my passion is anger, because it's very confusing with stupidity. Every fucking nation, every time something changes, it's the masses. I don't say black people. I don't say white people, yellow people, whatever fuck color you want to name people, Asians, whatever you want to say with people. I say all of us. And the fact is that ain't enough people, they haven't hit the right demographic to make people mad. Because if they hit the gay community when comedians tell jokes, people get canceled. because the gay community is like, yo, fuck this. We had enough. Y'all can't do this. When they hit the Jewish community, all of a sudden y'all talk about skin and you can't take off a suit. I can take off a yarmulke. I love my Jewish brothers and all that, but when shit happen, when they want shit to happen, Nick Cannon and everybody else get canceled. Everything gets canceled. The only thing that doesn't happen is when we really want to stand up and change America. The Constitution. The lady asked, I saw social media is beautiful. A lady asked the police officers in Minnesota, if y'all are not going to uphold the Constitution, then what are you here for? And he had no answer. If we're not going to uphold the Constitution, what are we doing? They've been playing money games behind the scenes, and now they're like, fuck it. We can do it in public, and nobody's going to do nothing. And that's all they're doing to us. So the real question is, what are we all going to do? And I'm talking about anybody who listens and looks. I get 500-600 views in an hour on my pages. I get no comments when I talk about real shit. I post Disney World. People hit me up all the time. Oh, that's so cute. I'm at Disney World worried about why the fuck we got 1 million people at Disney World, but don't got 1 million people outside protesting. That's what I'm really worried about right now, everybody, y'all. Like, y'all don't really understand it. I know we do, but it's not, because I don't want to ask Javon what his group is doing. It's not the pressure on him. I don't want to ask y'all what y'all doing. I want to ask everybody, what are we doing? And I don't want to depend on mommy and daddy from the political group. The system was rigged the way it is designed to be like it is. So we want to ask people in $10,000 suits, people who are eating good, who ain't have to worry about what is it called, EBT, who don't have to worry about food, who don't got to worry about, they building bunkers and shit, and we still trying to worry about going to vote and going to ask them when we know they're all friends, all of them, from our precious Obama, who y'all don't want me to name, and everybody else. I would not sit there at I don't care if it's what president died and I'm at their funeral. I don't got to talk to this man. I don't want to fucking talk to you, because all the young people y'all saying why they don't want to go vote, they looking at that shit and being like, yo, we voted for that dude and look what happened. They buddy. We voted for this. They buddy. I'd rather be Michelle and not go. And I'll leave it at that, because that to me shows morals and character and what we talk about with Martin Luther King, the character of a person. You can't sit there and show me repeatedly that these people are high-fiving, fist-bumping, because one thing I know about me, where people can't say I'm fake, if I don't like you, I don't fuck with you. And you know if I don't like you, period.
Yeah, and a lot of people are smiling. What do they call it? Smile in your face. And then stab you in the back
all the time. They want to take your place.
And I mean, I keep. You don't want to beat a dead horse, but when you see people that are willing to accept the crumbs from the table instead of a seat at the table, after all of this time, then I'm kind of like Masada here, like I want to turn the table over. If I can't eat, can't nobody eat, But then, I have people like Brother Derek telling me, calm down, calm down. But
fuck that table, burn
it.
I saw people protesting in OB. That's Ocean Beach from us. A lot of white people protested. Hunk your horns. I hunked my horn. I came back through. I sat there. I was trying to do this. They wouldn't even look at me. So their fight ain't for me. They fight is for their forms and shit. My fight is for everybody, not poor, not rich, not black, not white. It's so we can get out of this system. That's how America was made. So why can't we remake it and remake it with all of us in mind? And I know I probably ruined the mood, but if I ruined y'all mood for me speaking my mind, then y'all don't need to listen to my show. Y'all don't need to come and listen to me. Y'all don't. I'll fuck the turning the table over. Burn the motherfucker down and let's build a new table where everybody can eat. Right now we have a king with a table full of food telling us that, yo, we're going to be looking and we're going to go try to find money from China. We're going to try to find money from here. We're going to impose taxes on these people. We're going to impose this. All while they got neck bones, chicken, whatever. I don't even eat. They got a lot of food. And I'm just tired, y'all. I'm tired of talking about the same rhetoric. I am not dumb. I am not stupid. The reason these kids that we want to say kids 20 years and younger don't give a fuck about voting and all that is the same reason I don't give a fuck about voting. The same reason Tupac made a song like Michael Jackson instead of saying that they don't care about us. He said they don't give a fuck about us. That's the reason Thug Life, the hate you gave fuels everything, because it's the same rhetoric since the beginning of time. Whether it's with us, whether it's with the Jews, whether it's with Nazis, well, it's the same rhetoric. Fear inside of the people, and make them think they have a choice when the choice is this evil or this evil. Because if not, then Bernie, if it was up to voting, Bernie would have won a long ass time ago. That's plain and simple. But Bernie ain't won, and Bernie got a lot of people I know that fuck with him. But he's still that white man. He's still that person that you living good, and he does a lot. So respect to him, and respect once again to y'all when I talk my shit. Respect to Obama, because once again he did give a lot of people hope. But I'm tired of being fed hope. You can only feed me bullshit so many times and hope so many times. So I'm like, I can't eat hope. I'm getting too skinny. I need to bulk back up. So I love everyone. I can name every race. I love every race. It's ridiculous to me to even say every race, because every race starts with the black chromosome. I don't give a fuck what you say, whether you're religious or not. So what are we doing? If y'all want me to get back politically correct and all, what is politically correct? Because right now, politically correct is selling out your soul. Politically correct is looking out for your own home. And the only people's homes they're looking out for is those people that are in those government jobs. I love our governor, Newsom, but guess what? He wasn't saying shit year 2, 3, 4 years ago. They were all buddy. I live next to a place called IB, Imperial Beach. It's fucking beautiful, but guess what? Since it's next to Mexico, we got sewage problems in 2026, and all the engineers literally come from down that way and make America all great, but yet it's still shitty here, y'all. So when y'all hear me talk, the reason I don't talk and I do like try to sit back is because I don't want to go on and on and on and on, because what good is this going to do if it doesn't produce action? If there's no action about it, what good is it going to do? History is not waiting on perfection. It's not waiting on the next Malcolm. It's not waiting on the next Markham, Haile Selassie. It's waiting on fucking participation from everyone. And what's sad is we getting the participation from the good old boy side. People are signing up for ICE left and right. They got participation like a motherfucker. We don't have no participation. It's time to participate, y'all. I'm going to call for a call to action every time. Every time I'm calling for, let's overthrow this shit. Let's go out into the streets and march every day, not just on the 30th. Let's not just make that phone call. Do like Minnesota did. Everybody in the world, not just San Diego, not just in America, everybody in the world who really is for each other, who really is for love, who really want to see a change, let's go outside. My last thing I'll say, y'all, is this. If everybody's scared because they got 8,000 members or they got 10,000 members and they got guns and all that, I'm one of those people that are really ready to die. 2 million, I'd rather fight with 2 million with no weapons and all, like on a Dr. King thing. If we 2 million come against 8,000, y'all ain't got enough bullets out the wild. It's going to get defeated if we keep coming. Somebody got to stand up. I'm standing up.
Standing up is fine, Masada, but have you ever heard of the Zulu Nation?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You do know what happened when they stood up, right?
They got from the inside. It's always an inside job. They were powerful because when you say Zulu, that sparked something in people because they were one of the most powerful nations when they were all together, and then get infiltrated by outside lies, outside gods, outside different things. When they knew who they were, you say Shaka. That's why when I go to Hawaii, they look at me and say Shaka like I'm a god. Shaka, because they know the only time it got infiltrated, it's just like the Black Panthers. Everything was good, and then they get infiltrated. You get a sucker will fuck up everything.
Yeah, well, see, but the thing, what I'm trying to say is, no matter how powerful you may become, it only takes that one bad apple, that one stinking fish, and
vice versa. That's America right now. That stinking fish is Trump.
Right, but the thing of it is, is that to me, and I might be wrong, but and everybody else can chime in on this. is that, and I'm guilty myself because I got comfortable. I got comfortable in myself. I got comfortable in what I stood for. And as long as it didn't affect me and my family, then I didn't really care because I had crossed over. I remember when, we couldn't own our own home, when we didn't have our own schools, and you had to say the pledge of. I remember those days. I remember very vividly watching the dogs attack the people in Selma, and saying I could never let that happen to me. But what I did is I let the psychological part get away from me. I was so concentrating on the physical. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh, now I can do this. But what does it cost me to do that? Now, I don't even have a neighborhood to go to because there's a freeway that goes through it. I have no food stores in my neighborhood because now I've created a food desert. And all the good places are in the suburbs. So I think that a lot of our problems, our lack of trust, have all become because we have become complacent. And it's all about me.
Self-centered.
Right. Precisely. Self-centered. As long as, I got food on my table, and the gas cut on, or the air conditioning cut on, or I can go down to the store and get me something, then I'm fine. I don't really care about that homeless guy down there because, hey, like, he should have done better for himself. Rather than me saying, brother, can I give you a hand? It's like, brother, don't touch me because your hands is dirty.
That's the
And
American dream they sold us. Instead of having a dream of our own, like
no,
MLK, we sold into theirs, bought into theirs.
but they didn't sell it to us. We bought it.
Yeah, we
That's
bought into it. They sold it, we bought it. Yeah. The white picket fence.
Right. So, Javon, how do we get out of this mentality? I mean, it's your generation that has to face the future.
Right. I mean, it's a lot. I don't know if I have all the answers right now.
We're not asking you to have all the answers. I'm just, trying to figure out, like, how can we get your generation to become more involved?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess
to help resolve some of what's going on. Well,
like I said, it is your future.
Right. I think part of it
future.
is speaking the generation of, or speaking the language of the generation. You know what I'm saying? Derek, as much as you say, like, get off social media, like, we speak in social media, we communicate in social media. So it's things like that. It's like, if you speak the language of the generation, and in a way that allows the generation to understand, like, that this is our future. You know what I'm saying? And how we can fight for that future. If you communicate how you can do that, or how we can be proactive in the situation, I mean, that's your best bet. That's my best bet too. I'm speaking as if it's on you guys to communicate with us, but it's like Masada said, it's also falls on each individual to take responsibility, take accountability for it, for what they can do. And so, I mean, as far as our generation goes, we just got to keep being proactive in the ways that we got to be more proactive in the ways that we can and we choose to do. And I mean, the biggest blaring example of this would be social media, but there's a lot of other ways. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot. I mean, we're on school. You can do something involving school, college, and high schools. There's probably a lot more that exist out there, but I think it just boils down to one thing. It's just like speaking the language of the generation, and lighting a fire, lighting some sort of urgency. I mean, naturally, when you see like things like ICE killing people, that's naturally going to spark some urgency, right? The worse it gets, it's pretty hard to avoid that because everybody's going to see it. And my generation, especially, we're on social media. That's where we see things. But as far as like what we can do as a society to just kind of proactively light a fire under my generation's ass is to just speak the language of the generation. And I think there is a huge generational disconnect in a lot of ways too. So we could definitely tackle that. I mean, that's a whole iceberg in itself. But at the end of the day, I think if we're really trying to pinpoint what's going to work in that regard, I think that's our best bet for sure.
Now, going back, to Brother Derek's day and my day, when we were in school, there were a lot of, you had student unions, you had fraternities, you had different organizations that were part of the political spectrum of school. Is that still embedded in the system today, or is it more of a everybody for themselves?
I think it still exists. It just looks different. Like for me, I'm in a whole bunch of online groups all across different platforms that basically accomplish the same things or are trying to accomplish the same things that you just described. All the different political groups and clubs and collectives who are trying to, be proactive. They do exist. It just looks different from how it looked when maybe you guys were younger. And I mean, colleges are still active. Like my sister, she went to Berkeley, and that school is active. These kids are not. It's not like I'm not accusing you guys of this, but the narrative that like my generation is not doing anything are not doing enough is like we're still out there, we're still active, and we're still, a lot of people are still being extremely proactive that are part of my generation. There could be more. There could be more in every generation for sure. But to answer your question, James, I think those groups and collectives, they do exist for sure. It just looks different for sure than what it looked like back when you were younger or your generation was younger, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Brother Derek, what's your thoughts there? I know you're an old, were you a Kappa guy?
I'm an Omega.
Oh, okay.
I'm an Omega.
Oh, okay. You're a Q. Oh, okay.
I am indeed. And
right. Okay.
and we're very involved in all kinds of things, fatherhood programs, teaching against domestic violence, teaching men's help, working with the homeless, working at schools to show manhood and education and how important that is. I go and read to the kids. And so, yeah, those are still very viable. And of course, that would be kind of quote unquote Du Bois's talented 10th. So we need to make sure that that's happening though on all the other levels. Y'all laid out a bunch. Okay, so let me start with you, Brother Masada. I love your passion, and I love the fact that you are unfiltered, because that's who you are. No, you don't need to come over here and pretend. And that's a beautiful thing, because we are not a monolith. We all come from somewhere different, but we're this Black collective, and none of us need to be ashamed of who we are. We all need to be the best version of who we are. And I love the fact that, because like I always said, Malcolm was a great foil for Martin, because, you gave these two amazing, brilliant well-spoken brothers who, coming from two different places, even though they wanted the same thing. And I think that's good that this country needs to see that. I only was speaking though, Javon, about social media. I tell you, I didn't. I'm trying to get into social media because I almost have to market my books and to be out there, and I can get caught up in there in hours, and I look up and I'm still there because there's a bunch of fascinating things there. I'm just saying that in the term social media. So, like, I'm a journalist. That was my background. That's what I went to school for. Wrote for USA Today for 10 years. USA Today for, that's where I was for 10 years. Time Magazine. And so I had to take classes in ethics. I had to take, they call it the fourth estate. I had to essentially, there was a standard that, the training said that to be honorable and to, because the responsibility of a journalist is to make, people know things or make them aware of things that they aren't, and to speak truth. And certainly people fall short of that every day. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I'm saying social media, people can say anything and put anything out there. And now you get to see a bunch of stuff that you need to see and know about, but people will frame stuff like, anti-vaccine and all kind of other stuff that's just really doesn't have any training. It's like having Robert Kennedy as the head of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and he's never taken a single course, a medical course or a public health course. And so that kind of thing is
the man studied intravenous drug use. What are you talking about?
He did
Can I ask you this? Let me ask you this. So I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. But like, let's say we remove social media out of the picture, and that idea of people can say anything and false information can be spread. Like, where's the information coming from at that point without social media?
Well, I mean, just like you mentioned a few minutes ago that you weren't aware of something that was going on because social media wasn't covering it. I'm saying.
No, well, I was aware of it. Oh no, I was aware of it. It was just being censored. I didn't specify.
Okay. So I'm just saying that what quote unquote mainstream media has its place and its purpose as well. I wouldn't, I'm fascinated by social media, and it's almost like what did Chris Rock say some time ago? This stuff was always happening, but now everybody has a camera, and you catch all kind of stuff, and that's good because it brings stuff to the light. I also want to remind people that during the civil rights movement, I mean, Dr. King was 27 years old. Young people changed this country, moved the needle because they're the ones. It wasn't old people like James and I. So I know a ton of really amazing young people. I just think there are certain things. And again, the reason to me, Masada, I'm being accountable when I say that my people didn't do our job. Now, we did our job in certain ways, certain aspects, but when we failed to make sure that next generation understood the price and understood the sacrifice and understood where the needle was moved because people came together, that's dropping the ball to me. And everywhere I go, I say that. I said, look, we failed you. And I'm not saying totally, but that's a truism. One of the things I try to help young people consider is this. And I'm sure James is the same way, but most everybody I know when I was in school, it wasn't like you just go to school and, I don't know anybody personally except one guy whose family owned the big famous barbecue joint called Gates in Kansas City. But we all had jobs, we all, and it's like somebody that's, um, it's like a musician. Most musicians in the old days, you could sing, but you played something too. You weren't just doing one thing. That's a luxury that we have to help people understand. Because there was a time you had to do three things, and most of our parents had to do that. And so I'm just saying that we can push ourselves more than we realize we can. We are capable. What did Amanda Gorman say? The lady, remember she read when Obama's, I can't remember the name of her poem, even though I have it in my book. But I think we're much more capable. We can stretch ourselves a lot further than we do. So, like my level of accountability, what I work on is to make sure, because I'm a historian, I'm a storyteller, I've had the privilege of being discipled, informed, and shaped by all these people in history, Rosa Parks, and even Minister Farrakhan, and, Muhammad Ali, and all these people. So, Obama. So, for me to not try and pass on something that I got from them that I believe could inspire somebody or convict somebody or, make somebody think again about, wow, that is really cool. That is that is important. And maybe I do need to revisit this, or I need to grab my partner when I'm going to this so they get exposure too. I mean, we all can do more. I'd rather point the finger at me and saying that I need to do more, and I didn't do this and that, and then to point it at somebody else. And of course, I'm gonna point it at the regime all day long, because that's just, we just have to do that. But yeah, no, it's I mean, to me, people probably come to watch this show, Masada, because you're gonna go there. And
Yeah,
and,
no,
and, and there's something in the Bible that talks about that. It's called righteous indignation, and that's what you express, because it is effed up. I'm not going to say it like that. It is, and we know it and we see it, and I think that's why so many of our people have high blood pressure, have cancer. They have all these anxieties. Too many of them we're beating people that we're supposed to love. All this stuff that's going on. We because we're always living in this state of tension, and a lot of it is because of the regime and the society that we're in.
that we
But
built.
we have, yeah, and but we have seen that. I mean, and that's because honestly, we're feared, because people know how strong we are, and we know how resilient we are, and so we just have to make sure we know it, and that I think we live up to that. And that's all. But I love
So
the fact that we're all coming from somewhere different, and
good.
love the fact, Jovan, that you're here. You one day you may say, I didn't see something at this time, but 10 years, 5 years, 20 years now, I get a little more of what they're saying. And I think that and guess what? And we need to see you here, because it gives us encouragement and says, wow, that young brother is sharp. And I know a bunch of young brothers that are sharp, and sisters. And man, that's what gives me hope for the future and today.
Well, everybody should just point the finger at themselves. Real quick, what happened, Javon, and everything, frats, collectives, and everything grew too big. And what I mean by that is saturation. What I mean by that is he spoke of the Nation of Islam. I met some Nation of Islam people this past weekend and bought bean pies from them. I love them. Go get bean pies if you don't know. They're awesome. But my whole point with that is back in the days, you had Nation of Islam, then you had Malcolm separated, then you had Martin, and then you had three or four fraternities, and that was it. And everybody came together. So right now, it's like us fighting a war. The I hate to even say it, but the political system, imagine it, that's their team. Their team is all five people on one hand. Our team is this frat over here, this collective over here, this people over here, we're all fighting different battles while they all are one. They came together like a fist while we're still doing our individual things because it's too many of us. Instead of all of us coming together and saying we need to be affiliate of each other, we need to come together and ball that hand up and combat that fist with the fist. Because right now, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. A lot. You can have Kappas, Qs. You can name all the fraternities you want. You can name all the collectives, even our coalition. It's so many and so many different battles. To this past weekend in San Diego, they're forming a protest for parking in Balboa. So while we need to protest a killing and we need to protest ICE and we need to protest the just the blatant democracy being overlooked, we're protesting public paid parking. Which not saying that it's not something here in San Diego that needs to be. Not saying that we need to put it behind, but we all need to come together. That's what's the difference is. Malcolm had a whole group together. Martin had a whole group together. Everybody we named, Black Panthers, they had a big, strong group. Nowadays, you got 30, 40, 50 groups in just one setting. Javon talked about it. New age social media, new age, you got 10,000 groups you could be on. That thins you out. That thins anybody out. If you're talking about war and all that. And also between social media, you all, Brother Derek, the reason I can't and I don't like the mainstream, ain't Trump getting deciding who gets to come in or not? Didn't they already down with the media and he gets to decide who comes in or not? If he likes you, you get to come in. If you report the truth, he can kick you out. That already says enough about mainstream media right there that they lost their morals and their codes.
No, they didn't, because a lot of them just said, well, we're not going to go. And so no, they made a stand on that. But you can't blame them for what Trump is doing.
Oh, no,
Trump is trying to silence the media.
I'm not blaming nobody.
Authoritarian state.
Where do we go to listen to the real ones? That's all I'm saying. I'm saying he's silencing certain ones. He's not allowing them. He's taking away their amendment rights. He's not allowing them in the White House to actually record and to do what they're supposed to do. So young people and other people, you know how I found out about some stuff? I go and watch what they show me happening in Minnesota, and then I go to TikTok and see what's really happening. And the people in the streets are posting what's really happening. When George Floyd was happening, you can go and see what was really happening, and then you can go and see the news media, and you're like, yo, they didn't report on this, but this sometimes people try to tell me what happened, and they're like, Masada, you don't watch the news. How did you know that's happened? I got on social media, and I went, it's what you follow. So not to take up time and all, but the basic thing is I'm not pointing the finger at nobody. I'm pointing at me in the mirror. So when I pointed at me, I don't got 4 pointing back at all of them are pointing back at me. And that's what I'm telling everybody else from every organization, anybody that says they care, we need to get together. That's it. We just need to get together. There's no what happened to us. It's too many of us. We're too big. We all need to get together. That's it. We need to get together, come up with a plan. You said it, Javon. We don't have an action to call out. What do we want to do? The way Derek Mill felt us is after Malcolm died, I don't even want to name those other busters. Everybody fell in the background. And then they just start getting paid. And then they show up with their hair slicked back, if you want to say that, and their night suits on when something happened that they can go and get their name in the newspaper for or in the media for and say that they were there. But all they were there to do was get money and put their name behind it. Ain't nothing really changed. I told y'all don't want to talk.
Well, you only took up about 3/4 of the show today, but that's okay.
Yeah, I gotta go soon. But no, I hear what you're saying, though, Sada. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I want you to.
I don't feel like I'm alone.
Yeah, so Javon, give us your final thoughts. I really wanted to get the Black Panthers representative on tonight, but he seems to have had another commitment. And but I do want to, when you talk about different groups, I do want to talk about this because it seems that in certain cities we have had different groups splinter off. And the group I really wanted to talk about was the local Black Panther chapter and the Black Panther chapter in Philly. as you know, Philly,
Mm.
they are making sure that the homeless, once again, they've reinstituted to feed the neighborhood and feed the homeless population. There are two groups in Philadelphia, one led by Mr. Paul Birdsong, and then the original Black Panther movement by Mr. Khalif Ali. So I do want to talk about that because it does seem that, as Masada has seemed to call out, we have more of our brothers willing to uh, bear arms and make sure that the neighborhoods are safe. Now, will this eventually evolve into a perfect storm? Uh, I don't know. But I do know that if you keep throwing gas on a fire, uh, sooner or later you're going to have an explosion. So, as the white people say, and I don't know whether they really mean it or not, uh, fuck around and find out. But
That's not just white people. That's Gen Z right there. It's called FAFA. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what we call it for sure.
So go ahead, Devon, give us your final thoughts.
Well, as usual, I think for me, like being in these meetings is more of like me putting myself in an environment where I can learn from other Black men, especially older Black men. This is just not something I grew up around, um, and so I'm of course eternally grateful for the opportunity to be here. But on the topic of ICE and what's going on, um, it's I mean, it's still there's so much to go. We got so much to work on as a collective, and it's still like I'm still gonna leave this meeting feeling very unsettled about the whole situation, and but I feel like now I have a little bit more perspective, and it feels good to be able to talk and listen to a bunch of people who you know have the best interests of the people, and so again, it's gonna, like Masada said, it's gonna take a lot more. It's gonna take everyone as an individual to change anything. But as far as I'm concerned here in this meeting, I'm here to learn and just build myself as someone who can just generally pave a better future for my generation, I guess. So thank you all for the opportunity, I guess, and I hope I can tune into more in the future, despite how busy I am all the time. So.
Hey, anytime you can spend with us, we enjoy not only your perspective, but having someone of the younger generation to talk to. Uh,
Hmm.
we appreciate that. Any final thoughts there, Brother Derek?
No, I would agree with Javon. I mean, I learned something from each one of you every time we get together, and you know, in a sense, you could say this is something. The Bible talks about iron sharpens iron, and as long as we all bring our best that we have, and we're gonna learn something from each other, and I always know that. I may not always act like it, but I always know that there's a whole lot more going on out there than what I know, and I don't get it right a lot of the times, at least aspects of it, and it's easy to get, just see your perspective, and so that's why I need to be here so I can learn from military vets, and learn from people who grew up in Hardscrabble, Mississippi, and now live on the beach. And young people to me, I mean, young people are the future. I mean, really, because it's like James said, whether we created this mess or we allowed this mess, you're going to inherit it. And so we have to be as supportive, and we should be as supportive and do everything we can to equip you to do some things even that we didn't do and maybe couldn't do, because I mean there's a power in social media, just in because you didn't like going from city to city and getting the word out. You can, and of course there's that double-edged sword, because it attracts anybody and everybody. Some people just want to see something burn, and I don't mean like burn it down, but I just mean like because the excitement of it. And so that's a different thing than in the modern civil rights movement, where you'd pull a group together and go through training on nonviolence, the 7 steps of civil disobedience, and all of this. And so you get people all on the same page, but you can't do that when people just see something and they just come. So it's a unique opportunity with unique challenges. And like I said, I'm learning a lot about it. And so you all have so much more to deal with that's just bombarding you from every angle that we didn't have. I mean, we had a black and white TV when James and I were growing up, and there were just a couple channels, and so and you had radio, and you didn't have a whole lot more. So this you guys have so much, and so I'm thankful for you, all you being here and being able to learn and just exchange ideas. And for people who are coming, I'm thinking they're seeing 4, 5, however many people we have on the show at that is, people from real different perspectives. And again, that's the beauty of who we are as Black America. And we just have to keep insisting and letting people know we're every bit as American as anybody else, even if we didn't come here on our own. We here, and you ain't gonna run us off. We may choose to leave, but you're not gonna run us off.
Brother Masada, take us home.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brother Derek. Seriously, y'all didn't fail us. I said y'all only felt us when the leaders didn't show up after the other leaders got killed. You taking accountability, that does spurn, and you did help out of me, my generation, and Javon's generation. That is why that young man is sitting here today, because of people like you and others. He's there, and thank you, because you chose your own self, Javon, to be here. Time is of an importance. Thank you, Brother James, for getting this all going. Daily, I have to hear people talk about they're hurt, they got jobs, they got this. I got kids. I'm not just a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. I just look good, I tell people. I want people to know, before I got on this show, I went to school to teach kids, and then I came back and I got on the coalition page and started working. And I've been working on this site. I got to brag about it. I've been working on this site for like a week trying to get it up. To me, that's dedication. Brother James been calling, conflicted, cussing me out damn near, trying to get it right. That's dedication. Me showing up with him all the time, that's dedication. That's all we got to do, is take accountability for ourselves. So I'm going to leave this with peace, love, and light. Assalamualaikum salam, or salaikum salam, wa salaikum salam, and peace be unto everybody. I love everybody. Let's get it right, and let's do it. It's today. I see it says today is the day behind Javon. Every day is a new day. Every day is the day to start. If we didn't do it in your generation, my generation, we can do it in one swoop. That's it. So, assalamu alaikum and wa salaikum salam.
Well, peace out. Appreciate you.
Great show, guys. Appreciate all your time, and see you next week.
The fire next time.
Yeah.
See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.